Junpei and his companions ran out of the casino into a large open room, a room in fact that they had been in once before. There was little to surprise them there. They already knew what their next step had to be. The iron gate still stood in place, locked tight, blocking the stairway. In the center of the gate was the keyhole engraved with the Venus symbol. This time, however, Junpei had the Venus key in his pocket. Wasting no time, he pulled it out and shoved it into the keyhole. He turned it. With a distinctive sound of metal on metal, he felt the lock click open. Alright, let's get this thing open. No problem, let me help you with this one. Junpei grabbed the handle on the left side and Seven took the handle on the right. On Junpei's signal, they pushed, and the gate creaked open. It sounds as though you've opened it. You should be able to reach C-Deck now, I imagine. Snake, are you gonna be alright? I mean, the stairs. Please don't concern yourself with the embarrassment of underestimating me. I'd be unlikely to trip even if I were running backwards. Good to hear, let's move. At Seven's words, they leapt onto the stairs and jogged quickly down them. In no time at all, they found themselves on C-Deck. Junpei ran down the stairs a little farther in hopes of checking out the deck below. When he reached the water, he called back up to Snake and Seven. Just what I thought. D-Deck is completely underwater. Just like the bottom of the central staircase. The surface of the water below them was flat, like a mirror. It had not been changed too greatly since they'd seen it was a great relief. Junpei quickly retraced his steps and headed back to C-Deck. In front of the staircase were a pair of elevators. They appeared to be identical to the ones from the upper floor. Between them, attached to the wall, was another card reader. And next to that was another strange symbol. Hey, check it out, it's the symbol for Lotus. What? See, it's got the women's symbol and then the devil horns, right? Ah! Yeah, I see it, no two ways about it. That was a pretty good one, kid. Seven tousled Junpei's hair in what he thought likely to be a friendly manner. Junpei feared his neck might break, even though it was clear Seven had kept his strength in check. Thankfully, Snake interrupted. After Junpei's observation, he'd gone over to examine the card reader. This is a Mercury symbol. The marks you mistook for horns are a stylized version of the wings and staff of Hermes. Wings and staff, huh? So she beats you with the staff until you die and go to heaven? Sounds like Lotus, alright. Oh, Seven shook Junpei's head even more vigorously, and the younger man began to feel as though his brain was being jostled about inside of his skull. He began to feel rather ill. Unless we can activate this device, I doubt the elevator will function. In other words, we gotta find the key card with the Mercury symbol on it. So I would assume. They decided to leave the elevators alone for the time being and headed back to the stairs. To the left was another hallway. There were many great doors lining both sides of the hallway. They seemed to stretch on forever, and all three men suddenly felt very small. Oh shit! We're not gonna have enough time to check all these, are we? Maybe we can come back here later? Let's check out the other side. They turned around and went back the way they'd come. To the right of the stairs and their hallway stretched out, reaching deep into the bowels of the ship. After a few moments of moving briskly down the hallway, they emerged into an area roughly the same size and shape as the one at the top of the stairs. On the left side of the room were 4 French doors. Well, let's open them up. Junpei nodded and grabbed the one closest to him. He gave it a small tug and felt it move. It was unlocked. Thrilled to have found another unlocked door, he threw it open. Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw. He simply stood, unable to speak. Seven's eyes opened wide and his mouth gaped. After a few long moments, Seven at last managed to speak. Hey, what is this place? A massive room stretched out in front of them, no more than a cavern than a room. Its vastness was oppressive, and it bore down on Seven and Junpei. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds. They were simple things, little more than pipe and thin mattresses. Is this a hospital? He'd at least been able to put a name to the harsh scent that pervaded the room. The room was full of the clean smell of antiseptic solution. In the center of the room were shelves stacked with medicine and a number of medical devices, the function of which Junpei did not know. More importantly, however, on the back wall of the room were 4 doors. 3 were emblazoned with large single-digit numbers made with thick red paint. The door on the left was labeled 3. The second door from the left, no number, but the third had been given a 7. The door on the right bore an 8. There could be no doubt, they were numbered doors. It did strike Junpei as strange, however, that the door between 7 and 3 should be blank. What, he wondered, could it mean? Let's take a look at that door. Yeah, good idea. The 3 of them threaded their way through the beds towards the back of the room. Upon reaching them, they proceeded to investigate each door in turn, but to no avail. Yep, locked, just as I thought. Naturally, after all, there are rules to the nonary game, and to allow these doors to open easily would violate those rules. Unless we can authenticate ourselves with the red, the numbered doors will... Whoa, check this out! Suddenly, 7 spoke up, interrupting Snake. Look at the red! There's nothing on it! Huh? Don't you remember the red back at the main staircase? There wasn't anyone in it, it said vacant on the little screen, remember? Oh yeah, you're right. But this one... There's nothing. Right? You think it's broken? Only one way to find out. Junpei and the others put their hands on the panel, but nothing happened. The red refused to change. They tried pulling the lever, and still nothing. As they soon discovered, it wasn't only the red on door 8 that seemed to be malfunctioning. The red on door 7 and the red on door 3, none of them worked. What, they wondered, did it mean? They've got to be broken. Man, that bastard. I didn't think Zero was the kind of guy to screw around with something like this. Whoa. Zero's been prepared for everything so far, and you're saying that he's going to make a mistake now? Well, that's the only thing I can think of. The thing ain't working at all. While Junpei and 7 talked, Snake busied himself examining the red. After a time, he lowered his hands and spoke. It seems as if some of the internal hardware has been removed. Internal hardware? That is what I said. Take a look at the underside of this red, if you please. Junpei obliged and bent over to look at the underside of the device. A long, thin slit ran along the bottom of it. As he looked harder, he realized it was more of a slot than a slit, and that it was clearly meant to accommodate some manner of electrical device. The other 2 reds were the same. Something had clearly been removed from all 3 of them. I get it. So the reds aren't working because someone pulled out their guts. So I assume. But why and who? I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. I have no idea. Why on earth would I know something like that? Just then, they heard the sound of a door opening. The 3 of them turned and saw... Akane! Oh no, Junpei thought, it's... June! She stopped short, surprised to see them, and was very nearly bowled over by the rest of her companions who were coming through the door behind her. Ace, Santa, Clover, and Lotus all poured out the door, and each of them surprised at the last to see Junpei, Snake, and 7. Junpei and 7 were, for the moment, at a loss for words. What are you guys doing? Why are you... After a moment of silence and surprise, everyone suddenly began to talk, desperate to exchange information. They talked about the rooms they'd been through, how they'd ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. They were happy simply to see one another again. Although the level of cheer varied greatly from person to person, each one of them was wearing some manner of a smile, almost as though they had already forgotten about the death of the 9th man. No, thought Junpei, perhaps that wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were what drove them to smile at one another, not in a morbid or hateful way, no. The 9th man had died, but they were still alive, and that was something to be happy about. A sort of simple, uncomplicated joy, Junpei thought. The joy of being alive. Still alive. He felt sorry for the 9th man, but more than anything, Junpei was just happy to be alive. That dialogue was pretty much the same. This is bad, though. If the red isn't working, we can't keep going. What about that big hallway? Maybe there's somewhere in there we might be able to go. No, there's nothing there. The 5 of us had a quick look. There were great many rooms, although none of them appeared to have held patients for quite some time. Patients? You mean those doors are for hospital rooms? Yes, apparently they have been a number of individual rooms, in addition to this large central room. There was a door down at the end of the hallway too, but it was locked. It had one of those solar system marks on things on it too. It was the Jupiter symbol. Jupiter. I wonder what it means. Confusion seemed to be the consensus. That reminds me, what's the deal with the big room anyway? What is this thing? Was this some kind of huge passenger ship? No one, not even Snake, appeared ready to offer an answer until Seven unexpectedly spoke up. I bet it's a hospital ship. In fact, it's probably the Gigantic. The Gigantic? Junpei looked at Seven, shocked by both his knowledge and the apparent identity of their prison. He was not the only one. What's the Gigantic? Seven nodded to Lotus and began to speak. The Gigantic. Why can't I skip this part? I've heard this. He explained that she had been a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century. The Titanic had 2 sister ships who were identical to the ones. She initially. We heard this already. So you're saying that this Lord Gardain bought the ship? Yeah, at least I think I am. That's impossible. No way we're in some boat that's almost 100 years old. Pipe down, just pay attention. What, that's it? Well, have you got any proof? And proof? Proof that the ship's really the Gigantic. Well, the ship's got stuff like the Titanic and a hospital ship. So I just figure... Oh, for goodness, don't tell me that's your only reason. No, I've got more. Like? Well, I mean... Seven looked around desperately, doing anything to avoid meeting Lotus's piercing stare. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally, he opened his mouth. I don't know. Lotus sighed and shook her head. I guess your memory isn't back yet, is it? No, sorry. Then, almost as if to save Seven from further embarrassment, a bell began to ring far away. It sounded as though it was the clock at the main stairway. Junpei counted each chime carefully. 10, 11, 12. It's midnight. Then we still got 6 hours left, right? Let's just get moving. We gotta find the hardware the Reds are missing. That's all well and good, but... We'll have already searched the big patient room. They had been examining the room as they talked. But we haven't found anything. Right. Well, there's only one thing left to do. Just one? Well, not just one. Wait a minute. Are you telling me we have to search all these rooms? Well, you already checked some of them out before you came here, right? We each checked a single room, so 5 rooms in total. Alright then, that's 5 rooms we don't have to search. If we split up, it won't be that bad. If each of us can do 6 rooms apiece, then we'll have 48 rooms cleared in no time. Just 48 other rooms? Lotus did not seem excited by the prospect. Seven fidgeted nervously before responding. Maybe. After some discussion, the 8 of them decided which rooms to begin with and in what order they would go. Junpei was chosen to search the rooms on the starboard side, moving from fore to aft. They also determined when they would return to report their findings the next time the clock sounded the time. When it did, they would meet back in a large central area full of beds. If during the search any one of them were to locate a missing component, they were to yell for the others. If this strategy failed, they'd return to discuss their options later. The details decided, they left to begin searching. Out into the hallway they went, each in search of rooms they'd been assigned. However, from far away, Junpei heard the bell ring. He did so only once. It was 1 a.m. He jogged to the entrance to the large hospital room to find the 6 of the others already there. Ace, Santa, Clover, June, Seven, and Lotus. They gathered in... Okay, wow. Alright, so we're finally basically back to the same shit. Alright, so we're looking for him again. I mean... fucking shit. What about the first cabin? Class cabin on B deck. Alright, sounds good. Took off up the stairs at a run. Okay, let's leave her alone, I guess. Sling told Junpei that Clover probably wasn't in much of a mood to talk. He leaned over and whispered quietly to June. Maybe we should leave her alone. Yes, I think you're right. They turned and walked quietly away. Okay, I mean, I'm just gonna check all this shit. I have a feeling the same fucking conclusion's gonna happen. Yep. Okay, let's run to Ace. When June in tow, Junpei jogged up to Ace. Hearing their footsteps, he turned to greet them. Hello there. Snake as well, that's obvious, isn't it? I assume you haven't found him yet either? Junpei nodded. I really wonder where he could have gone. Well, wherever he disappeared to, we must find him as quickly as we can, for Clover's sake. Right. June's face looked kind of enraptured. By the way, do you think Clover and Snake are really siblings? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? The question seemed somehow odd to Junpei. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? They don't look alike at all. Ace looked at him for a moment, then spoke. Yes, you know, now that you mention it, they don't. Now that you mention it. Still, there are a great many siblings who do not look like one another. It certainly isn't rare. Junpei wasn't so sure why or even if he was seeing what he thought he was, but he could have sworn that Ace's face tightened as he spoke. At any rate, we must find Snake as soon as possible. The clock is ticking. We can't afford to waste any time. Very well, let's get back to the search, shall we? You can leave this area to me. Right. Let's go, dat boy. At June's urging, they left. What's up, Sir Matt? They found themselves back at the stairs, but Junpei's mind was in turmoil. There was so much to think about, but no, it would have to be put aside for now. As Ace had said, finding Snake was their top priority. Junpei did his best to clear his mind. Alright, where should we go next? Let's go take a look around the casino. Okay, let's go. They turned and headed towards B deck. They were probably gonna have the same conversation. Yeah. I mean, do we want to lead? Do we want to listen or not? I guess we'll just do what we did differently every single time. Nah, that's alright. Let's go, June. It's like we know what you want to say. Fuck you. Was that okay? You don't think we should have listened to her? No, I've got a pretty good idea of what her proposal would have been. We should be looking for Snake. Where should we go next, I guess? Hey, why don't we go back to the big hospital room? They took off at a run down the stairs. On their way to the large hospital room, Junpei and blah blah blah. Wait, who was it? Oh, it was Santa. I don't know, we've talked to them already. I guess let's just fuck all these people. Junpei took June and left the large hospital room. Where would they go next? They quickened their pace and headed to B deck. Alright, so I think we're pretty much done. I mean, I guess we can go to the casino, but I'm pretty sure no one's gonna be there. Yeah. Alright. What next? They looked everywhere they could think of, but Snake was nowhere to be found. Lewis looked around at 6 frustrated faces and spoke. We can't keep looking for Snake. Wherever he is, it's not here. We need to get moving. Junpei couldn't disagree with what she was saying. Snake seemed to have completely disappeared. Blah, 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 blah. Leaving behind... Okay, let's just say she was right. It wasn't pleasant, but she was right. There wasn't any way that the numbers would work out. If one group was 4, the other group would have a digital route that didn't match the door. When Seven spoke, his voice was strained. Then, you're saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind? Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logical and morally the best solution. If the other 6 are to survive, then one person has to sacrifice themselves. No, that's too cruel. What's so cruel about it? To just sacrifice someone like that? Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of just 1. That's not what I meant. We shouldn't sacrifice anyone. I told you that's impossible. Wake up. Whoa, 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 calm down, you two. Santa stepped between Lois and June. Look, what Lois is trying to say is that you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we saw that shit. Okay, so yeah, Ace gets chosen. We leave Ace. Okay, so we did door 8 last time. Which door do you guys want to do this time? I think door 7 is 7, Clover and I, and door 3 is Santa, Clover and I. I'd go with 7. Okay, lucky 7s. Well, 7 is very shady. We've spent some time with 7. You can hold. I am actually doing that, Sir Matt. I'm doing both. I'm speeding it and I'm holding right. I think I'm gonna go with door 7. All right, 7 it is. Yeah. All right, then that means June's gotta go through 8. What? Why? What? Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain. If the 6 of us are going to keep going without leaving anyone behind, there's only 3 ways we can do it. Plan A. Go through 7 with 3, 5, 8, and go through 8 with 4, 6, 7. Plan B. Go through 7 with 4, 5, 7, go through 8 with 3, 6, 8. Plan C. Go through 7 with 3, 6, 7, and go through 8 with 4, 5, 8. And that's it. Those are our only options. In other words, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now? As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up in the corner of her eyes. Oh no, you're saying we aren't going to see each other again for a long time? Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face, but he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile. Hey, come on, you're making it sound like we're never going to see each other again. We got split up, but only for a while. So just be like we went into 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then, but we all met back up. I bet 7 and 8 are just like that. You mean they're connected somehow? Yeah, probably. Probably. She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected. I'm sure they're going to connect somewhere. Why? What makes you think so? If they don't connect, neither team can get through door 9. In other words, the game would end right here. They've just been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until we get through that 9 door. June said nothing. The tears were gone, but eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder. Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again, I promise. June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod. Yes. Oops, I don't want to do that. Promise? Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment. You guys are done, right? He stretched and continued. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. Figure I'll take 8, and Clover can take 7. Any problems with that, Clover? Clover looked away and was silent for a moment. Whatever. It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care. Alright, we're ready to go then. Let's move. At Santa's command, the group split and headed over to their respective doors. Clover, 7, and Junpei walked towards door 7. Santa, Lois, and June headed for the door 8. For a long moment, they stood in front of the door. 7 took a deep breath. You guys ready? Yeah. Yes. Okay, let's go. The door had opened. A narrow hallway stretched out before them. 7 and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonators on the bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them, but as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his right, towards door 8. Right, goddammit, this shit again. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked towards him. Their eyes met. They nodded. Their farewell took about 1.5 seconds. Then someone grabbed a hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door.